Welcome in to the LFC transfer room after a win, one of the greatest feelings in the world. Myself, Jack, Chris with the brew, Dan, and Matty here to recap after the 3-0 victory over Arsenal. 2 goals for Jota and the 1 for Salah. I said just before we started, I think it's the best performance of the season, but undoubtedly just thrilled with everything. Chris, you disagree with that, but your assessment of today's performance?
I think it was the best performance of the year, or of the new era, shall we say, of Liverpool post Van Dijk. But no, genuinely, the way we played football today is right up there with some of the best we played last season and some of the best we played this season. I'm just thrilled, and I tell you what, Diogo Jota's just got a knack in it. He's just got a knack. Unbelievable.
Matty, you predicted 2 goals from Jota from the pre-match. Besides being a prophet, how else are you feeling?
Feeling good. It's a good performance, dominant performance. What you want before you go batter Madrid midweek. I think it's a turning point for the Reds. What's that? 3 back-to-back wins. We haven't had that for a while. So excited. I think we're going to go and win the Champions League and finish 4th. It's all good.
Are you also bevved up, Matty?
Yeah.
And then 3-0, I mean, the comments are there's just pure happiness from everybody. Your feelings as well. We've gotten everyone's initial reactions. How you feeling?
Yeah, buzzing. It's hard not to be. Back-to-back wins or 3 wins and 3 clean sheets as well is probably the massive thing considering the pain we've had this season. But yeah, echo what the lad said. Jota, Trent as well. We said before Alexander-Arnold would be good, and I thought he was outstanding tonight. So yeah, top draw.
Yeah, he was, I think, my man of the match, even then more than the 2 goals from Jota. So I think he was absolutely brilliant back there. Just that was a message to Gareth Southgate. I am the best right back in England. Matty doesn't like that because he's not a big fan of the England national team. But man, he looked good. He looked really good today.
Can I just say, Black Hammer, this is 3 more forward, all right? So allow me.
No, Hammer, you're right. That's the same beer. He's a soft. No,
I'm going to go for Trent, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't want him to go in the England squad. I'm not playing on England's team boss. But yeah, I think he was unbelievable today. He showed you to that guy with Southgate. He is the best right back in world football. So it's still mad when you think you can get called up for England. Like, it's just stupid.
Whatever's good for his mentality at the end of the day. If he thinks if it's better for him to be playing for England, then sure, let him play. But personally, I just want to keep him wrapped up in cotton wool and in cotton wool for Liverpool. In a selfish opinion.
Yeah. Now, I wasn't here for pre-match, but what are your boys' thoughts on the hindsight on the decisions made by Klopp, starting Milner in the midfield over maybe Oxlade or Keita, and obviously Firmino in the front 3 instead of Jota? I think they were vindicated, but they definitely looked a bit suspicious when the team sheet came out.
I think if you look at it, we won the game, so it's the right decision, right? That's how we look at it. Obviously, Jota came on and had the impact that he did. So whether he would have had that impact starting, who knows? But we won the game.
It's all about game time, innit? Like we can still win the Champions League. It's no small matter. We can still win that. So it's all about managing game time. We also played all 3 games for Portugal. All minutes within them. Bobby stayed at home, so it makes more sense to play them. I think Milner done a job and ended up at the game at left back. I think he was. Couldn't fault them today, to be honest. You never can with James Milner. He always puts performance in, doesn't he?
Let us know your man of the match shouts as well in comments. I agree with this comment as well. I think Firmino as a 10 looked really, really good. I think this was his best performance in a while. When he kind of dropped off a little bit with Jota on the field, I think he improved a bit. Chris, I can't tell if you're disagreeing with me or if you're firmly agreeing.
I'm sort of 50-50 in all honesty. I think the front 3 pre-Jota was pretty poor. And I know that might be a little bit of a shock to those who didn't watch the game or whatever. But when he came on, he just injected a little bit of oomph. I sound like a Strictly Come Dancing judge, but he put in a little bit of, energy and just, it was so much better with him on the field. Whether maybe it's a 4-2-3-1, maybe he's in the front in the 9 or whatever. He just injected a little bit, and that made Firmino better. Playing better players around better players makes people better players, right?
That's some pretty good logic. Dan, I mean, this is kind of a bit of a debate now. Firmino, Jota. I imagine Mane and Salah are guaranteed to start against Madrid, but is it going to be a case of 4 up front? Who do you want in their next match on Tuesday?
I'd be tempted to go with 4, to be honest. And it sounds a bit attacking and maybe a little bit ambitious, but I would. Even away from home, because I think Jota has to start. Like, some of the decision making tonight from Salah and Mane was a little bit slow, a little bit laboured, especially first half, and it cost us some big chances. Jota doesn't have that. Jota doesn't think; he just does it straight away. So he has to start. But I like Firmino in the 10, and I'd be really tempted to go with it. To be honest, I would.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on there. I think this was a great performance, with the exception of some final third decision making. For me, or Milner putting that one wide. Mane, I think, taking a few more shots instead of trying to be a bit more unselfish. But Jota just knows kick ball at net, go in, and he does that very well. And so I think that this was just a brilliant performance all around, but Jota really kind of changed it for me. Chris, going forward, Jota, Firmino, both of them on the field.
Depends on the game, doesn't it? I mean, you can't expect that from Jota from the start, or like coming on every single game. If, as I say, if it's a big game like this, I'd be tempted to go with Jota or Firmino off the bench, preferably Jota, because he's got, again, that injection of energy. But you got to have we're not living in FIFA world here, you know, that you need the midfield there, the three of them. We needed that in the first half. I still think that. I still think they would have had a more route without the Milner, Thiago, and Fabinho. I thought Fabinho was unbelievable tonight, and shows why he's 100%, you know, a better 6 than, in my opinion, he's the best defensive midfielder in the world, and he's proven that tonight again.
I have no dispute to that statement. Matty, round the debate out. Jota, Firmino, where are you standing on the future of the front three?
I'd play Firmino in central midfield. Like, he finished the game today. I think he played all right there. It's another option, and I think he's going to be more of a squad player now going forward. So played well there. Could be something we do at Madrid, but going forward, I think it's going to be Mane, Jota, and Salah. I don't think it's going to be far, but you can come on in central midfield. It doesn't do a job.
Yeah, Milner, I think, in the midfield is one of the only few sticking points for people in terms of bad performances. I mean, I think that I agree with this comment that he wasn't as good as – I love Keita, and I would have preferred to see him play. But I don't know. I think the reason I think it's the most complete performance of the year, best performance of the year, is I can't fault a single player on that field. I mean, was there a player that would drop less than a 7 out of 10 in any of your guys' estimation?
Yeah, there's 2 for me. One was Milner. I mean, and that's how it is. I think he was needed, but not all players can have a 7 or 8 out of 10 every week, in my opinion. And Milner's always a 6 or a 7. What I noticed with him is, if you look at Thiago or Keita, when they're on the ball, they're always moving. Like, they always seem like they're, you know, looking for a forward pass. When Milner gets the ball, it almost seems like he's stood still or on his heels. And that's really quite frustrating. And I think some people will see the same. And the other one's the man who went off, Robertson. I just think he looks knackered, if I'm being honest, boys. And he has done for the last few weeks. If you guys remember Glenn Johnson, when he was in the final few years at Liverpool, he'd never go down. He'd never run forward throughout the wing. He'd always back, turn, pass. That's a little bit of what I'm sensing from Robertson. I don't know if you guys picked that up as well.
I may have been was it an injury? Because I remember I saw Reece Williams was warming up. I couldn't tell if it was for him or for center backs at halftime. But yeah, he didn't look himself. They are the similar situation where it's like neither of them will really drop a stinker. It'll just be kind of an average performance. But Milner, where's his place in the team long term? Because I struggle to see him over many of these other options when we're fully fit.
Squad player, just stays as a squad player, and then maybe start of next season, he announces his retirement at the end of that year, and he starts coaching with Liverpool. It's going to be something like that. He'll stick around coaching and now at the club. That's what I can see. But he's a squad player. He does a job when he comes in. But like, I couldn't even say bad about James Milner tonight. I think the whole team worked. They had a game plan and he stuck to it, and he won ultimately. So couldn't fault anything.
I've seen this. I love it, bro. I love it.
That's going to upset Matty. Matty loves to defend this guy, Virgil. And the beard thing, I mean, I can't grow a beard. Like, you guys make me look embarrassing. This is like a week without shaving, and you say, Jack, did you shave in a week? Because there's nothing there. I guess it's a trend. I'm just,
60 and me.
I'm embarrassingly low on that trend. But it's weird. I've done so many of these streams where we've been after a defeat. Now we've won. This is how I like it to be. These are like smaller nitpicking problems that we're picking apart because we're so used to the negatives. Positives. I mean, a man of the match shouts for you guys. We've thrown out Trent Alexander-Arnold. Is there anybody else you guys want to float out there?
I think Fabinho. I agree with
100%.
I think Fabinho is man of the match. It shows, don't we? We've played 3 games now with Fabinho back in midfield, and we've won all 3. He's world class. There's nobody better than at central midfield. I don't care what anyone says. That there is nobody better than him. He's in a different league. You can't associate anyone else's name to him in that position.
I think Thiago. I think that was his best performance since the injury. Anyway, I think he was brilliant when he first signed. And then he struggled when he come back, but I think that was the best he's been since. I thought he was outstanding. And he was almost taking the piss a little bit at times. Like, some of the touches and the flicks. He's a filthy footballer to watch, and I thought he was outstanding tonight as well, to be honest.
Martin Tyler definitely loved to push the narrative that Thiago's not a great footballer.
Oh, well, that's Martin Tyler, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Nothing frustrates me more when you just don't appreciate what you got in front of you. Look at that. And he's just so filthy.
I thought he was good.
Going back to Fabinho, I mean, the number of times that Arsenal were on the counter attack, and he put a tackle in, or he won a header, or he got the ball back. That's what we've been missing for the last 3 months. Is because teams can counter attack us easily, or we give the ball away, and there's no one there to stop it. Fabinho is just so good. It's just unfair, man. He's got telescopic legs. And it's not fair for the rest of the league.
Before I jump onto that, a great stat that I'm seeing. This is the biggest win Liverpool have had at Arsenal in the league since October 1893, when they won 5-0 at Manor Ground, which was the first ever league meeting. So we're talking centuries at this point of history. We're making history and records in a much better way, and I'm very happy about that. But back to Fabinho, what he does remarkably well is he just is a pressure valve. Anytime that we're under pressure, anytime that there's a side that's maybe on a counter, as you mentioned, Chris, he's just unbelievably good at just relieving that. And paired with Thiago, I mean, they made some of the best touches I've seen in the midfield, and it was amazing. And when all of them came on, I thought he had a nice contribution on the field. I know you hate him, Chris, but and Fabinho in the midfield just changes literally everything.
Wijnaldum still managed to find a way to, when he has space in front of him, to turn around, though. I don't know how he does it, man. He's a special breed of man, honestly.
He had a shot on target.
He did. Well, fair play to him. At least he didn't score, eh?
He's a legend, though, isn't he, Chris, really?
Huh?
He's a legend.
If he's a legend, then I'm a legend, mate. And Arsenal athlete.
That ain't how that works. Mane, we've kind of talked about him a little bit. Thoughts on his performance? I thought he was really good, but he also had some bad moments. Where do we stand on how Mane has been playing? Didn't get on the goal sheet. Kind of had an assist. Is that an assist for the third goal? I can't tell if that was it was kind of just like he touched the ball and then Yoda touched it.
Yeah, I think so.
But thoughts on Mane's performance overall?
Thank you.
Go on. Go on.
Go on.
Oh, no, mate, no. No, you go first, mate.
I think he was decent. To be honest with you, Mane has been poor, but I love him. I absolutely love him. I think he's one of the best players in football. So he's had a few off weeks. The whole team's had a few off weeks. It's just an off season. And I think Mane was very sharp today. Yeah, he may not have scored or assisted or anything, but he was sharp. He looked busy, getting himself into nice positions and stuff. So I thought he was decent today.
I think it's been the same for the last couple of weeks, isn't it? Like, he started to really get a little bit sharper. The end product's not there. As we saw, with the header at the end, getting into certain positions. But when Jota came on, he sort of seemed to, again, switch on a little bit more. And again, as I say, playing around good players makes you a better player, right?
I think that Jota, if not being world-class footballer, he's just confident. And when you have a guy who's that comfortable and confident in their ability in front of net, you conversely are confident as well. And that's what we've lacked for so long. Without Van Dijk, we're just less confident. Trent's less able to go forward, less able to create. And overall, there's just a knock-on effect everywhere. But Jota, I think, is helping us in the opposite effect. It's helping us get up front better. I've seen a couple comments. I'm just going to say there was a very nice performance earlier in the day from Sam Allardyce's boys, putting us 2 points outside of the top 4 as things currently stand. We've gone back and forth on if we can even make top 4. Matty, you said we're going to miss the top 4, but win the Champions League. Now we're 2 points off of Chelsea. Is top 4 qualification back on the cards for you?
Yeah, I think we do get top 4. I still think we're in the Champions League, so it doesn't really matter where we're.
I just think that today was as perfect a day as it could be. Leicester losing, as much as you hate to see Man City win, and that's a good thing for you, but Leicester losing, Chelsea losing, and then this 3-0 win.
And West Ham got the Wolves as well, away.
Yeah.
So a few decent looking fixtures as well this weekend. So things could go our way. Things go our way most weekends, to be fair. And we haven't capitalised. So it'll be decent to see now we've actually got a win if the results do follow and then capitalise on that. Because I do think we will get top 4. I think it'll be City, United, Leicester and us. I don't think Chelsea get it. I think we just miss out.
Let's talk a little bit
about. Go on. I mean, I think Dan, you're the first time meeting us today, right? So we've got some dodgy trims going on here. But what do you reckon of Aubameyang's one, mate? Come on.
One of the worst things I've ever seen on a football pitch, but it was topped by the ref. The refs trim about. That was awful, wasn't
it? So true.
He saved him on his head.
Shocking. That was good.
It was amazing. So let's talk a bit about Arsenal, because they had a bad performance. They were bad. How much of that was them being crap versus being nullified by the greatest center back duo in world football history, and Ozan Kabak and Nat Phillips?
I think they were just had 2 shots. They were decent. They were decent again today. Kabak. If we don't buy Kabak, I know we've been rumored to Bill Canate, but I still want Kabak. I just think he's the boss footballer. We've established a decent little partnership. See where it takes us.
I don't think it was about the centre backs, if I'm being honest. I think it's about the way we pressed them. They were forced to kick along. And I don't back Lacazette or Aubameyang in the air against big Bolton Baresi and Kabak lads. The Turkish Nesta. Oh my goodness me! These two have just settled in, and all of them. But the way that the front 3 pressed, the way the midfield pressed, forced Arsenal into doing that. Yes, they didn't try and play through, but when they did try and play through, Fabinho went and got the ball back. So I just think it was overall a great performance, and they played into our hands as well.
I mean, Chris, you said a couple of times that playing good players makes good players better. And Fabinho's just he makes things so much easier. The knock-on effect everywhere. Long term, Kabak and Phillips. I know we love them. They're growing on cult favorites. Phillips definitely a cult favorite. But long term, Van Dijk's back, Gomez is back, Matip is back, fit. What is the long-term future of this center back duo? Dan, I'll start with you. I love them. They're great today. I think they're great players, but are they Liverpool players in the long term?
I think you'd have to say Phillips is probably the biggest question mark, wouldn't you? As much as we all love him at the minute, and he's doing a fantastic job. Like, play with him month the other day, brilliant. But long term, you would have to question his future at the club. I think I agree with Matty in terms of Kabak's a must sign for me, even if we get Konate in the summer. I think we need to have 6 options next year. I think Ben Davies leaves in the summer, probably without playing a game. And I'd like to keep Phillips, I would, but you'd have to question whether he would want to stay as a 6th choice after being so good. You know what I mean? He might look at it and go, 6th, potentially 7th choice, I can go and play football somewhere else in the Premier League. So, difficult one, because you'd love to keep him, but realistically, you know, he's so far down the pecking order when everyone's fit. It's almost not fair on him.
What I think about it is they've done brilliantly for what they do, but what the player I'd like to liken Phillips to is John Flanagan. Did brilliantly when he came in. Was almost one of our best players when he played. Was there ever really a long-term future for John Flanagan? Not for me, if I'm being honest with you. Even after our near title-winning season, we went and bought Alberto Moreno. So yeah, I love Nat Phillips as much as the next man. I think he's been excellent, as Dan said. But you can just see the ceiling that Kabak has if he gets a little bit like more game time, gets more confident, gets Van Dijk next to him. There's an argument that Kabak could play ahead of Gomez. The way that he's playing at the moment, the ceiling that he's got, I genuinely think he could be one of the bargains of the summer if we go and get him.
I think Philip. I agree with Dan. I think if Phillips went and played for another team, like what Connor Cody's done, I wouldn't have no bad hate towards him at all. I think he should fair play if he does that, because realistically, if rumours are to be believed, are starting next year of Van Dijk and Canate, and you're probably going to have Gomez and Kabak as your third and fourth choice, which are going to play cup games and stuff as well. See Matty getting moved on, probably because of his injuries, and then maybe one of the kids just covering it if need be. But I think if we have two centre-back pairings that can play alternate, so City have, I think that's key this year with the amount of games that we'll play.
I agree with this. Kanate, I think, would be the final nail in the coffin for Phillips long term. Last talk on center backs before we move on to a few other things before we wrap up here. We floated the name, a guy who's really thoroughly in the basement, Ben Davies. Had a few injury problems integrating from the Championship to the Premier League. He was brought in as like kind of an emergency center back replacement. Now the emergency's kind of almost ended. Not knocked on wood there, because I don't want to have more curses in that position. Will he play a game? I think that's the baseline question you have to ask. And does he have a future even beyond this summer?
I don't think so, no. I think he's being bought as good business. Realistically, Ben Davies is worth 15, 20 million. That's what everyone was saying. He watched him in the Championship. So buying him for what? 1.5 million. And then selling him for 15, 20 million when he hasn't played the game. Good business. It's also brought in as clever, really, because if Kabak or Phillips get injured, you're not relying on Reece Williams, who can be taken out the team if he needs to. And then you can put Davis in, who's played 13 minutes for Preston. I think he's been brought in as more of a cover, who's someone who we could sell on in the struggle when we have got centre-backs fit.
Yeah, I feel sorry for him a little bit, if you know what I mean.
I don't.
I don't.
Do you not?
No.
What?
He never, 6 months for Liverpool, tripled his wages, and he'd probably get a move at the end of it to Celtic.
I suppose, yeah. When you look at it like that.
Could win the Champions League in the
Could win
process.
the Champions League, yeah. He had 15 men on the bench in the final. He'll be all right.
I suppose, but at the same time, in a footballing sense,
I feel bad.
Yeah,
He'll learn more training with Liverpool than he will playing with Preston now for this 6 months.
I suppose it's true.
Van Dijk and all that. All right.
So doesn't he have to play, though, to get a medal in order to be a Champions League winner? Doesn't he have to play at least one match?
No.
Ryan Brewster's got a Champions League medal.
That's true.
Exactly.
And then we can say Ben Davies has more Champions League medals than almost any defenders of Man City.
And Ben Davies has also got the most viewed video on this channel. So
yes. He will always be a legend for that, for being the start of this lovely project. But I do think that he's left-footed. Maybe the way we keep him in my eyes is the Van Dijk backup as a left center back. And that would mean that he would literally play 5 games a year. Because if Van Dijk is back healthy, his iron lungs, iron limbs, self, he doesn't miss matches before he had his knee chopped in half by Pickford. And so I think as a backup there, he could be deputable, but that's just nostalgia and the fact that I think that he seems like a nice guy. I don't know. I just feel bad for him. I get that he'll have a better, he's making more money, move to probably a better place, better club in the end. But I don't know. I feel bad. I wanted to see him play.
if we got a guaranteed top 4 in the last game of the season, give him 5 minutes. Come on, big man.
I'd like to see him make a debut. I would. And I was happy when we signed him, but when you look at it now, it definitely was like last minute emergency, just in case signing, wasn't he? Because I think Celtic had the deal done, and I think, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we sold him to Celtic, 10, 15 million. It just wouldn't shock me. And like Matt, it's good business, not only on the money sense, but we had an emergency backup just in case. So all good.
This is actually an interesting question, Dan. Jota,
second in the league, honestly. I don't think he would have won it. I think we'd be second in the league if Jota weren't injured.
Yeah, he has 8 and 14 appearances, Chris. Double that to 24, or what is that? That's 28. That was a bad math by me. That's 16 goals. That'd be good for tied second.
I wish football was that simple. I really do.
Yeah, Once you've been crap, we haven't been scoring goals.
We'd be a much better team with him here. Second maybe is a little bit of a stretch.
Okay, we'll be top. We were top at Christmas. When he got injured and stopped scoring goals, let's be realistic now, right? When all this bad run of form, the defence hasn't been terrible. It hasn't. Considering how many people have played there, we haven't been bad defensively. We just haven't scored goals. Simple. That's the simple thing about it. So if you put Jota in there, yeah, I do think we're second, 100%. 100%. Probably challenging, because we were challenging when he was fit.
What I will say, I suppose you're more right than anything. But yeah, we are only 2 points off the top 4, so maybe Jota would have scored X, Y, Z, but it's ifs, buts, and maybes, isn't it?
Yeah, Dan.
Yeah, I think second. I get where you're coming from, and it's half right, to be fair. I just think we'd be in the top 4, and we'd probably have secured top 4 by now, I'd say. How close that puts us to City, I'm not sure. I think we won the match. I think they've won like 18 out of 19 games or something mad. I don't think we'd have done that. But, yeah, I mean, we've seen, haven't we, since he's been back? He's just ruthless. Like, he just doesn't hesitate, just scores goals. And we'd be in the top 4, and we'd probably have wrapped up top 4 by now, I'd say.
Well, I mean, the answer to this much easier question is all of the above at the same time, if possible.
At the same time?
Oh, yeah, same time. So, and Dan, also leading in a little bit to the next question, as we figure out if Chris's hair is red. Is the hair red, Chris?
I have done my hair red once when we won the Champions League. Wait there, I'll get a picture.
Madrid, next up on Tuesday.
Easy.
In Madrid. Not in the Bernabeu, in the training ground.
Easy.
No Ramos.
Easy. I said the minute we got them in the draw that we've got the easiest pathway to that final. I believe we will get Porto in the next round. I think Chelsea will slip off after that defeat. And I do think we cruise past Madrid. The tie will be wrapped up after this game, cruising through our own.
So do we actually believe that Ramos?
Oh, my God.
That is a nice trim. Wow.
This is me with Liverpool legend Jimmy Case.
Wow.
But that it was fresh, to be fair.
Indeed, as Steve says, Ramos more like Vamos. I'll be upset that he's not going to play if reports are to be believed.
Nah, I'm not bothered. Hope he doesn't come back.
Yeah, I'm glad he's not playing to it. As much as the revenge story would have been nice, I'd rather he wasn't there, because I spoke to somebody from Madrid the other day and they said like he is so integral to the way they play. So him missing is a big bonus for us.
As Chris, I think, just wanted to.
Apologies. I had to plug the phone in, boys. I was about to die.
Ramos, Chris, upset that the revenge tour for Salah isn't happening as directly as it could be?
No, get him out of the team, mate. He's so key for them, isn't he? Takes penalties, leader on the pitch, and with Militao and who's it? Varane. I think Ramos and Varane complement each other better than those two do. A lot more. I think Militao and Varane are too similar. And yeah, I think Jota, Salah, Mane, and Firmino all do well there.
Yeah, I don't believe that he's as good as Van Dijk at all, but he has a very close impact on the Madrid team as Van Dijk does.
No one does Van Dijk.
But in terms of how much you look at Van Dijk losing him, how much it hurt Liverpool, how much Ramos being missed will hurt Madrid. I agree. Nowhere comparable players, but the impact of their absence.
I agree with that. I think he's as important. He's the captain, like Chris said, and he's crucial for them. They'll miss him massively over these 2 legs. Like, as much as he's not as good as player, he's not even as good as Matip, in my opinion, on his day. But at the same time, he's huge for them. So,
do we agree with Anthony that it will be as easy as Arsenal?
I think it'll be easier.
Oh, mate.
I
Did
think
you not see their bench against Atalanta?
yeah, they had no one, did they? Yeah.
No, and they couldn't even they couldn't even put 9 subs there. They had like 6.
They didn't fill their bench today, by the way, Real Madrid.
They
They
awful.
couldn't fill the bench today. Yeah.
Bad.
I think we're in very similar situations, us and Real, in terms of where we are in terms of the season. Like, they're slightly higher up the league than we are, if you like, but the league is probably a bit weaker. So I think we're very similar in terms of our chances for the Champions League here. I think we'd both be made up with a draw. But I do fancy us, I must admit, I really do.
I think that our situation is better now than Real's is. Like 100%. Yes, we're missing Jordan, Verge, and Joe Gomez mainly. But I think the team has settled more than the Real's has. Bearing in mind they've only just started missing with Ramos. We're far more deeper into our season without Virgil van Dijk than they are without Ramos. So yeah, I think I agree with Steve here. If we sort out Benzema, I think we'll be fine.
Benzema's crap.
Matty, you can't say these things. I know you say it all the time, but one of these days it's going to get clipped.
We have got not Phillips. Was sound.
You said Mason Mount was crap and he scored, lad.
Yes, he's overrated.
Actually, okay. In Matty's defense, he said that after he scored against us, so at least he was consistent.
No, he said it before. He said it before as well.
I think he said it both at least. So it's like it was a consistent slandering of Mason Mount.
I'd just like to rule myself out of this one, boys. I'm not comparable. I think Dan's got it.
It's close, like.
I haven't shaved, to be honest. So.
I think Dan's is more kempt.
I haven't kept.
It's close.
Jack's got that one, I think.
Yeah, Jack. strong beard there.
Are we talking like golf scoring of like hairs per centimeter on like your cheek?
Expected hair growth per week.
We haven't mentioned Alisson's mustache, and I feel like we probably should.
Yes.
Oh, mate. Well,
unbelievable.
Nearly got an assist at the end as well. Fair enough. What do you think, actually? I want to see if you guys think this is a game plan. Alisson put his foot on the ball so much throughout the game. Do you think that was to drag Arsenal in? Because it was weird. I was getting so frustrated with him. Because, like, mate, you're just inviting pressure. But maybe that was a tactic, I don't know.
I think he looked sick, played sick. Unbelievable. Alisson Escobar.
Yeah. Looked fresh off an 80s porn set, didn't he?
Yeah, looks boss. I think he played unbelievable as well. I think the whole team benefited from having a few weeks off, to be honest. The ones who have travelled played well. I think we've went for Liverpool.
I'm just what I liked most was whenever the ball went long, right? We won the midfield battle better today than we have in a very long time. Ceballos, Odegaard, did he was a ghost. He channeled his inner Mesut Ozil and just ghosted.
When he was playing.
Ceballos and Odegaard are on their work experience there, so they don't really care, do they? Or it's Arsenal, realistically.
This is actually a very, very good question from Dan. Should this be a concern? Yes, Yoda's great, but obviously he was out for a while injured. Is our dependence on him a potential concern?
No, because he's going to play the rest of the season, and we're going to get Mbappe in the summer, aren't we? So
should Barcelona worry when they haven't got Messi?
I think it's very fair. It's a very fair question.
I don't think we should.
I think it's a good question. I think the Mane problem's a bit more of a problem than Salah, I'd say. Salah's still scoring goals. As much as Mane does look sharper all the time at the minute, and he did tonight, there's still an issue in front of the goal for me recently with him. Like, he's got to score that late on, hasn't he? And, there's been a few of them recently, either side of the break, and that's a bit of a problem because, against Real Madrid, as much as we're going to batter them, obviously, if a chance falls to him, we'd want him to take it, you know what I mean? Certainly in the away leg. So we're just waiting for him to click. We know he's class. We know he's world class. So I'm sure it'll click sooner rather than later, and hopefully that's on Tuesday.
Yeah, I fully agree. it's just a confidence issue. As Chris is just admiring his beard, trying to.
I'm just trying to try and compare myself. I'm trying to get there, boys. But at 18, the XB, as I like to call it.
Well, I'm 19, so at my current rate of growth, I will be Matty's age, and I will be barely scraping his beard. So have some perspective. No, I think that the confidence is going to come back for Mane. Dan, spot on. Mane is world class. Every aspect of his game today was world class, except for his decision making and his finishing. He was able to take on players. He was able to turn players. He was strong. He brought players into the game very well, but he just made bad decisions. And once that gets clicked, once he buries one against Real Madrid in the away leg, he's going to be back. And I think there's a lot of actually reason for positive, which is a very, very positive thing. But we're dragging on here a bit, boys. So our last final thoughts and our man of the match shouts after a historic win against Arsenal. Chris, you first.
Top four's back on. Fabinho's the best defensive midfielder, number 6 in the world. Alisson's got a sexy tash up the Reds.
Man of the match, Fabinho. Matty.
We're going to win number 7. We're going to get 4. You might even get 3rd, just for something to do. And we're going to win it all next year. And man of the match was Fabinho. The whole team made me happy for once. Is right, the Reds.
Yeah, very similar. I think we'll reach the final of the Champions League. What happens then, I don't know. We'll get top 4. I'm certain of that now, to be honest. Our running looks pretty sound. And yet tonight, much better, much more like what we've come to know from this Liverpool side, really. Just so much better. And to be different, I'll give it to Trent tonight. I thought he was, given what's gone on, I thought he was brilliant.
I fully agree with that. I'll throw my man of the match as Jota because, in the words of the famous Michael Owen, you need to score goals to win games. I don't know, that's not what he said, but score more goals than your opponent to win more games. He scored 2 goals. He was brilliant off of the bench. Thiago, Fabinho, but like you all have said, there was really not a poor performance in the field. And as Steve says, big up Dan for coming on.
I think we need to get Dan back on. I think he's
hope to have you on again. I really appreciate your perspective and your time here today. So, Dan, appreciate your time as always.
So good.
But that is going to be it for us here at the LFC Transfer Room. Myself, Jack, Chris, Matty, and Dan are debutant. This has been the LFC Transfer Room. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. Go. All right, I'm reading these Steve comments and Chris is throwing me off. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Read our content, si.com, lfctransferroom.com. And we'll catch you in a bit. This has been the LFC Transfer Room. Take care.